YouTube Live. Okay, we're getting all set up here. Yeah, you see, we can't, you're probably thinking, well, how come you don't do this before? You, so we don't waste any time here because if I have the music playing, then YouTube is going to say, oh, no, no copyright. They don't understand that we actually own the copyright. So that's YouTube Live.
Okay.
Okay, we're getting, there we go. All right, all good. We're all good. All good. Okay, we'll be starting shortly. Yes, that's not a typo. It's a play on words. Instead of starting, we have startling. Thought you like that. Okay, we are good to go. All right, good evening from St. Louis. Good evening, St. Louis. Hey, why don't you just punch it up, folks, while we're waiting? Okay, a lot of people still joining up online here. So just punch it up in the questions box where you're from. All right, where are you located here tonight? Okay, just want to get an idea where everybody is located here. I know we broadcast to people around the world. And because it is recorded, that a lot of people actually view this later on from somewhere else. For example, right now over in Europe right now it's what about 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 or 2 in the morning. So okay, cool. I love to see these here. Okay, Richmond, Virginia, Santa Barbara, California, New York, New York. Falls Church, Virginia, Florida, Colorado, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina. All right, Denver, Colorado. Okay, let's see, Asheville, North Carolina. Who else do we have? Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Tri-Cities, Washington, Kennewick, Vancouver. Okay. Yeah, all over. Everybody's checking in here. Texas, Cincinnati, Ohio. Wow, everybody from around the world here. Okay, cool. Well, around the US and Canada. Okay. There's one from Mississauga, Ontario. There's another one from, okay. There's another one from Cleveland. All right, good stuff. Let's get started, folks. My name is Hugh, and there's my good friend Lucy. She has now passed away here. She has passed away, but she is there. And anyway, she'll live in our hearts forever. She will live in our hearts forever, folks. Yes, she will. At least my heart. Okay, use the questions box for any questions or comments you might have. Oh, you know what? I need to start the recording. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. Okay, welcome to DayTradeSPY.com's weekend review, and it is Sunday, April the 13th, 2025. My name is Hugh. Questions box there for your questions and comments. And I'm going to give you a second to read this disclaimer so that you know what it's all about. I think you're quite familiar with this. And I'll just give you about 10 seconds to go through this real quick, and I'll be quiet. All right. You alone are responsible for all your own trading, and past performance does not guarantee future results. Let's get started, folks. I changed the PowerPoint around so that now this when I'm looking at the other screen, it looks like I'm actually looking at the screen instead of looking away. Uh, okay. Here's what we're going to talk about tonight. We are going to discuss last week in review. The upcoming week, we're going to take a look at what's going to coming up in the next week. We're also going to take a little poll. We've been doing that in the last little while too. And also going to be giving you a 2-minute tutorial. We're going to answer your questions. And also we've got a little contest. We've been doing this last several weeks, and people really kind of enjoy it. We're going to give away our famous Triumphs and Tragedies ebook. All right, so looking forward to that. So all you have to do is just stay to the end, and it's an easy contest. It's just a random number. Okay, it's like a lottery. So and you stand a good chance at winning. So all right, okay, boy. I'm not very photogenic, am I? I don't look good on camera. I don't know. I never like the way. And every time I click away from the PowerPoint, it freezes. I always have this unbelievably ugly pose with my mouth. So it's really kind of scary. So I apologize for that, but that's just. Oh, there it is again. There it is again. All right, so let's move on here, folks. All right, so who am I? Why should you listen to me? I don't know. I'm a nobody. I am a nobody. My name is Hugh, all right? Spent my early years learning deep in the trenches. That's where I got most of my education. That's where I learned all the stuff that I teach. I teach what I trade, trade what I teach, and all the good stuff that you don't learn anywhere else, right? Along the process, I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of money, and I also lost a lot of money along the way. But every time I lost money, I'd always go back and see, well, what could I have done differently? What could I have done differently so that I could have maybe not lost so much money? And I'd go back and analyze my trades, and I would learn. And eventually, if you stop doing all those things that cost you money and just do those things that make you money, guess what? You're now making money, right? And it's not just the strategy, or the entries or exits. It's actually a lot of the psychology of trading. I think that's probably more important than anything else. So, but I did discover some pretty cool strategies because I realized that by just trading one stock, all right, options on one stock, 1 hour a day, all right, determine the direction, strength, and get into that trade, and chances are you're going to do okay, right? So you become very, very laser focused on this one stock. Get to know one stock. You don't have to know everything about the stock market to make money. And I kind of laugh at this. I mean, everybody kind of goes through this, I'm sure. I know I did. I was looking at all, the equities. I started, I think, penny stocks. I took a look at that and, made a few bucks there, lost some money there. I looked at futures. I looked at Forex, all kinds of different things. And eventually I found my way onto day trading just options on SPY. That is my go-to stock. I don't trade anything else. And that's all I do. And I do okay with it. So anyway, I started making some pretty serious money on the market and put the kids through school, and people started noticing. I'm no longer working for corporate America as we knew it. I guess I'm back there again through Eagle Financial Products, but lots of vacations and new cars, new house, all these things, toys, everything. So people started asking, "Oh, Hugh, what are you doing? You don't seem to be bothered by things like recessions or depressions or job loss or any of these things, and you seem to have a lot of time on your hands." I said, "Well, I'm day trading options on SPY, the S&P 500. Well, can you show us?" All my friends, family, neighbors, everybody says, "Come around." Well, just put up on a website what you're doing. Like, can you do that in the morning and just give us an idea what you're doing? See, well, we got to learn this. We got to learn this. I had friends of mine, and they're very, they're very concerned because they're working hard. They're going into the office every day, or they're going to their jobs and their careers, and they put in long hours and different things, and they're saying, "Hey, I seem to be working a lot harder than you, Hugh. So what are you doing?" And I told them. So I came up with these cool strategies, folks. And it was actually in 2010 we started teaching people how to day trade options on SPY, including the inner circle, including the trading room, including courses and webinars and all these things. So I look for short-term breakout trades. All right. SPY, the SPY, this is a stock that follows the S&P 500. It doesn't have to move a lot to make some pretty serious money on the market. If it just moves a little bit and we're going in that right direction on the options, we can do quite well, especially if we watch our emotions and don't get too greedy. You talk about options traders, and sometimes you'll hear people saying, "Well, I just made 300% yesterday and 5,000%," and they may be right. But if you're going to go for those home runs, and you'll get them sometimes. Everybody kind of gets that home run every now and then. But I found that if you go for the singles and doubles, you'll do much better. All right, you make a lot more money, end up with a lot more money just trading singles and doubles in the morning, and just kind of keep adding to the pot, and you're going to do okay. Anyway, that's what I do now. So what happened was it was in 2022, a couple of years ago, that Eagle Financial Products bought us out. They brought on John recently here earlier this year. John, his background is in law. He's actually a lawyer, commercial litigation. And but he developed his trading style over 21 years ago. And he's also written a lot of articles, he's in a lot of different publications, mainstream publications, different things like that. He's helped thousands of people gain success in the markets. He's very good at what he does. His philosophy is take what the market gives you. All right, you can take what the market gives you, and not only is he a nice guy, but he's also very intelligent. So what happens is this: so we both trade the same thing, SPY, right? Day trade SPY options, right? And we don't do any spreads. We buy first, then we sell calls and puts. If you expect the market to go up, you buy call options. If you expect it to drop, you buy put options. Okay. And that's what we do. And what happens is John has his set of indicators that he uses. He likes to focus in on Fibonacci, Andrews pitchfork. I think a couple other things that he looks at. Myself, I like to look at support and resistance, chart patterns, different things like that. So basically, we have different indicators that we look at. So if John comes up with with the with the conclusion that I think the market's going to go up, and here's why, and I say I agree with you. I think the market's going to go up, and I tell him why I think it's going to go up. Now this all happens very quickly, of course, because the markets move fast. But essentially, if we concur on a trade, chances are it's going to move up, right? And you'll probably want to buy call options. So our saying is when our indicators unite, our trades ignite. So you don't want to miss it on that. So you don't want to move that, lose that. You want to kind of run with that. So anyway, that's John, and let me see here. So let move on. So a couple announcements I want to make. First of all, Spy on the Market. Spy on the Market. This is a free newsletter. Goes out every Thursday, and it's just a brief 3-minute read, very light, relevant, entertaining. And you can subscribe. If you're not a subscriber already, I recommend that you do subscribe. It's very easy. Just go to our website, daytradespy.com. And when the little pop-up comes up, just leave us your email address. And this week's topic is going to be careful of the life insurance ruse. I'll tell you a little story about the life insurance ruse in the newsletter. Quite interesting, actually. And I thought I'd pass it along for you guys. May not exactly have anything to do with trading options on SPY, but I think you'll look at quite an interesting story. Okay, so you'll want to get in on that one. Anyway, don't lose, don't miss out on that. Now, if you do want to get the newsletter and you don't want to subscribe, you can still do that. Simply go to our website, which is DayTradeSPY. And up here at the top left where it says Spy in the Market, that's the name of the newsletter. Click on Newsletters, and you'll see all the various newsletters down here. And it goes back, a long time. So we've been doing this now for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years or something like that. And just click on the link, just what happened last week. And here we talk about what happened last week. Again, it's just probably about a 3-minute read if you're a fairly average reader, and we just talk about what happened, and other things. So that's Spy on the Market. The other thing I want to tell you about here, a little bit of an announcement here. We're still a ways away, but Freedom Fest. It's going to be at the Oasis of Liberty, Palm Springs, coming up in June the 11th to the 14th. Never too early to make reservations and get down there if you can, all right, in Palm Springs, California. John and I will be presenting there along with some other Eagle Financial gurus. So we are looking forward to that. I want to make sure I get this Eagle. There we go. All right. That again, June the 11th to the 14th. So what is this? April, May, June. You know what? We're only 2 months out, but going to be talking about that just to, you want to get your reservations in early if you can. Booking flights. I've been watching flights, and it's unbelievable how they change minute to minute. Seems like I get a good flight, and then as soon as I want to book it, they increase the price. I think they know it's me. I don't know how they know it's me, but they they do. They do. So. All right. So what else? Let's talk about now what happened this week on the market. And here's the chart for last week. This is actually an hourly chart. We're going back every day here. We're going to take a look at Monday. A very brief review as to what happened last week. It's been an absolutely wild swing on the market here, right? We ran up to, oh my gosh, oh, I don't know. We had probably about a, I don't know, 30 point move, if not more. On Monday, it was actually a low, no news day. SPY bounced back off a major technical support after gapping down here. You see this gap down and, well, came down, formed An inverse head and shoulders in pre-market, ran up, popped down here, but the bulls ran it up, and then we came back up here, bounced around pretty good. On Tuesday, we had another low, no economic news, but fears on the Trump tariff speak, which he spoke on Tuesday. He tends to speak just about every day. Suppressed SPY took a double bottom in post-market trading, and then it came back down here when you see this double bottoming out here. So let me just I don't have to draw this out, do I? Let's see if I have to draw this out. Pen. Okay, I'm gonna try. I like playing with this here. There you go. Double bottom. It's very difficult to draw a straight line, but I think you get the drift, right? You get the drift on that one. So anyway, annotate. Okay, there we go. All right, so we came back up here. And I think I need to, oh, what happened here? I lost it again. All right, let's go back here. Current slide. There we are. And I think if I have to, let's see, do this. Nope, I still have to cancel this out here somehow. This is more trouble than what it's worth, to be honest with you here. All right, let's erase this. Okay, now do we still need this? Get rid of this laser pointer. I don't know. Um, how do I annotate? Cancel, right? Close. Okay. Oh, well, how do I close this baby? I think there must be a way of closing this off here. Maybe this is at options, dock toolbar. If I go back to this, maybe that'll work. Mouse. Okay, here we go. Well, it doesn't seem to work. Okay, am I stuck in this mode forever? Who can see what you see? Options. Okay, let me try this. Talk toolbar. Get under the mouse. Why, oh, why is it doing this here? Mouse. Select mouse, mouse. Okay, I don't want erase. I want to close that thingy there, and I want to move on. Okay, there we go. You can just keep scrolling down. So anyway, sorry about that, folks. On Wednesday, we had the 90-day tariff pause. Pivoted SPY to catapulted up 55 points, breaking the week-long slide. All right, and that's what happened in a relatively few minutes. And fortunately, I was sitting in some call options when that happened, so I did okay on that one. On Thursday, despite some pretty good anti-inflationary CPI numbers, profit taking did bring markets back down almost 30 points on Thursday. We kind of hung in there in that lofty level. Favorable PPI numbers. These are producer price index, consumer price index. These are inflationary numbers, right? They supported the drop in inflation, pushed SPY back a little bit higher, closed near 534. So kind of maintain that level. This is what happened last week. So. All right, so here's a look at the seasonals. This here is a chart of the seasonal moves on SPY. That blue line at the top is where SPY is now, and the red line is a composite of the last 5 years closing price on the daily chart. Okay, if we expand this and zero right in on it, you'll notice that historically SPY rose about 4 points last week. And if we extend this into next week, SPY did slip about a point the following week. Okay, so slipped. I should probably correct the syntax on this. There we go. Slipped the grammar, I should say. Okay, there we go. SPY slipped about a point the following week. Okay. And let me see if I can. I don't know why this. Eraser. I don't want an eraser. Laser pointer, pen, highlighter. Still showing this thing here. Maybe if I go like this, dock. If I undock it, can I undock this thing? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Last week, folks, equities recouped some losses following that 90-day pause granted for all countries except China. Look at this is in Trump's book, Art of the Deal, written a long time ago. I read it a long time ago, but I remembered some of this where he would come on strong, then he pull back, change things. As long as he's in the driver's seat, he can do this. Obviously, it worked because of the number of countries that had called him right away. Let's make a deal, Donald. Let's make a deal. Donald Trump is the world's greatest deal maker. He'll make a deal on anything. And he'll respect you if you want to make a deal. If you retaliate, he's not interested in making a deal. It's probably going to end up hurting you. He wants to make a deal, and hopefully the deal will be good for both parties, right? He does get a little insulting and a little arrogant and a little condescending and all that. You got to kind of look past that. There are some people that take exceptions to these some of the comments he makes, and I mean, I do too. When he said, he started on, oh, all these countries have been looting us and pilfering and raping us. Oh, not exactly, Mr. Trump, President Trump, not exactly. Those deals were all made back in the day, and they're all ratified by all the leaders of the world. And at that time, that was the thing to do. Now, what you want to do now is just refine all these tariffs, right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Pivot signals an open door for negotiations. Uncertainty may have peaked, but the path remains bumpy. And we still got this likely mix of positive and negative news. That's the thing with Trump. I mean, he swings all the time. He's always changing things and introducing new things. So the markets are definitely on edge, which means the volatility is high. The next step may be de-escalation, but markets are still not out of the woods, or some people say out of the weeds. Policy shifts continue to drive volatility, and the S&P posted, believe it or not, its third largest daily gain since World War II this last week. So tariffs are now pretty well sitting on 10%, except for China, and I think maybe Canada is still 25%, not sure. Some things that are not included in the U.S. Mexico Canada treaty. I think the auto pact. I think there might be a couple other things, some other things that are excluded on that. But basically, I believe, if my understanding is correct at this point in time, that he's honoring some of the past agreements, but everything else is 25%. So anyway, increased the tariffs for China 145%. And of course, China retaliated by raising its tariffs to 125%. 145% US to China, China to US 125%. Here's an interesting chart here. Now, whenever you have this extreme volatility, it's actually been followed by some pretty strong returns. And here's the history of some of these returns when you can see that the volatility has peaked here. Um, as the volatility increases, you'll see that returns coming up later are in fact they're pretty good. So it's not it's not all that bad if you are vested. If you are vested in some trades right now, uh, I would um, I would stay vested. Don't go selling anything because the volatility is high. Things are going to change, but you can see some real solid returns here in periods after these high volatile moments in time. So stay vested, and you should be okay. All right. Okay. Trying to move this along here now. Okay. So here's what happened this last week. Believe it or not, the S&P actually, for the first time in a long time, I guess, it rose 5.7%. Still down year to date, 8.8%, but we're heading back in the right direction. Dow Jones, Nasdaq also rose, still year to date in a negative position, but if the momentum continues back to the upside, I could see some interesting moves to the upside. So I'm going to take a bit of a poll here, folks. I like to kind of like to do this here. And let me know what you think here. All right. So President Trump plans to honor Easter with the observance that it deserves. This is his words. He was a little miffed that the Biden's White House declared this most solemn Christian holiday, which is even more solemn than Christmas. So Easter is actually holier than Christmas. But Biden declared it Transgender Day of Visibility. So put in the questions box. Which one do you support? Trump, Biden, or if you are undecided, all right? There's no right or wrong answer. Nobody's going to be, centered out. No, you're not going to get any emails. You're not going to be, we don't even know who you are. Just kind of get an idea as to how you feel about this move, and Okay. Try turning off the pen. Turning off the pen. Okay. The pen it's the eraser. I think I got it off now. I think I got it off. Okay. No, it's still coming up as the eraser. Maybe if I turn off the eraser. Eraser is off? I don't know. No, eraser is still on. Okay. Try turning off the eraser. Can't seem to get it. That's okay. All right, let's get the answers. Trump, 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 Trump. I support Trump, Trump, Trump. Lots of exclamation marks. Trump, Trump, definitely Trump. President Trump for sure. LOL, I support Trump. Biden is a P POS. You know what that is. LOL. Uh, okay, Trump on this one. Okay, okay. Pam says Biden. Okay, I support humans. 100% Trump. Transgenders, 1% of the population. Trump. Okay, one of the only times I'll side with Trump. Undecided. Trump, Trump, no contest. Trump, Trump, Easter, no comment. Trump, okay, let's see, Trump. Okay, no brainer, Trump. Trump overwhelmingly has it. There were several that came in as either Biden or undecided, but I would say the vast majority is Trump. Okay, just curious, just curious. Week ahead, folks. Monday, low, no news day. Empire State Manufacturing Index on Tuesday. Retail sales. Fed Chair Powell speaks on Wednesday. All right, Powell is going to be delivering. Let's see, let's see what he's going to be talking about. I think he's going to be talking about the economy on Wednesday. Where did it go here? Fed Chair Powell speaks. I had it up here, and I'm just trying to find it again. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay. That's on Wednesday, right? Fed Chair Powell speaks on Wednesday. Here it is right here. So much stuff coming out here. He's due to speak about the economic outlook at the Economic Club of Chicago. So he's going to be talking about the economic outlook. Okay, well, that's good. So markets move when he speaks. Thursday, unemployment claims, Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, building permits, housing starts. Friday, the markets are closed. It's not a bank holiday. So that's important if you are in the pattern day trade rules. By that I mean following the pattern day trade rules, if you have less than $25,000 in your accounts, you are allowed to have three round trip trades in a 5 day period, in and out, in and out, in and out. All right. But you have to wait until your trade settles the next day, the next business day, banking day, all right, before you can make that extra trade. Otherwise, you're going to hit with a violation, all right? Now, this is important that Friday is closed. So, Friday is not a banking holiday. So you want to, you should be okay there. Actually, you should be okay. I shouldn't, but just, yeah, it's not a banking holiday, so you should be cleared. You should be cleared. If it is a banking holiday, but the markets are open, then you got a problem. But you should be okay in this one. So here's what the volatility is going to look like. Low for Monday, medium on Tuesday, high for Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday the markets are closed. Now, I don't know when Trump is going to be speaking. So what you want to do is pay attention to that. And when he speaks, volatility tends to be elevated because anything he says can and does move the markets, right? Can and does move the markets. So, all right. So let's move along here and our 2 minute tutorial. Okay. So tonight it's actually quite an interesting thing. I'm reading about that these experts are now recommending that you should have a 12-month emergency fund, and they're predicting survey by bank rate that we could have a recession coming up, and I'll talk about that in a little second here. But survey by bank rate says that 28% of people um, had at least 6 months worth of expenses saved. 16% 3 to 5 months, 29% less than 3 months, and 27% have no emergency savings at all when they did their surveys, right? And of course, it's going to be harder for the lower to middle class income households. Obviously, they're spending all the money they're getting. Now imagine this, that, here comes a recession, you lose your job, you have no savings, nothing put away. And this is where you could be, right? This is where you could be in a bad spot. So this is what they're saying, that you should have some money stashed away for when times are bad. So and I had a PowerPoint on this. Oh yes, I want to show you that. In fact, I'm going to show this up here. Okay, how to quickly save thousands in cash. All right, so we're going to talk about this, but here it is. Moody's Analytics chief economist Mark Zandi said, chance of recession is 60% even after the 90-day tariff pause. Okay, this is what he thinks. Expects job losses by June. Goldman Sachs also came in at a 45% probability of recession, and they say that unemployed people, on average, takes them about 6 months to get another job. Of course, it depends if there's going to be a recession, how bad it's going to be, and where they're going to find work. I mean, if everybody's losing their jobs and there's no outlook for a good job, this could extend longer. Who knows, right? We don't know. This is the problem. We don't know anything right now. And here's the thing, you don't know you're in a recession until they go back 6 months later. That's when they actually announce that, oh, well, there was a recession. The recession started 6 months ago because they need that data to determine that. So, either way, the point is these people are saying that we could be in for a recession. You might want to pay attention to that. So, here's our take on this. How to save quickly thousands of dollars. Number one, save your tax refund if you get it. And by the way, this data that I present to you comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They figure an average of $3,170 per household, your tax refund. Um, get a side hustle. They say the median earnings for a side hustle is $400 a month, whether it's driving Uber, delivering for DoorDash or any of these things, doing whatever you can, right? Do something else, cut your neighbor's grass or something, do lawn cutting, something. Get a side hustle. Stop eating out. They say the average couple with kids spends about $500 a month in restaurants and don't shop. They say couples with kids spend about $350 monthly. Not really sure how they expect you to stop the spending. I could see the whole eating out thing. I mean, you go to restaurants, okay, we don't got, curb our restaurants. And I don't know about you, but I've been going to restaurants and it's now costing a lot of money to eat at a restaurant. It's not cheap anymore, but put your hobbies on pause. Say $450 monthly. This again, these are all just estimates based on the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Some hobbies, of course, cost more than others. If you're like me and you like to fly airplanes, it could be very costly. So you don't want to do that, right? Reduce your 401k contributions on average $350 a month. Now, this is just a temporary fix if you have to. Obviously, your 401k is for your future retirement and all that. You kind of want to keep that going. And they said, one last one, they said sell your stuff. Go through your attic, your basement, anything you don't need, get rid of it. Not only will you declutter, but you'll also get a few bucks in cash, whether it's a garage sale or however you want to do it. So these are all kind of important things that you might want to think about. Or or you can simply make more money. This is what I like, by learning how to day trade options on SPY. Okay. And this is kind of where I started with this whole thing. I want to make more money. Okay. Hmm. Excuse me while I take a drink and wet my throat here. I've been talking all day. So you can only do so much to curb your expenses. I mean, let's face it, we still like to do the things we want to do. Especially if you have kids, you still got to shop for clothes and things. But I mean, there's some things you can do, and to reduce your expenses, of course. But if you can make more money, and some pretty serious money, okay, I think that's the idea. And by trading options, you can actually achieve that fairly easily, fairly easily. When I learned how to do this, I thought this is pretty cool. How much money I make depends on me. I need to have a little seed capital. Now, if you can find $5,000 in seed capital, you're not going to be trading all of this. You might even start out trading a couple thousand or 3,000 or 5,000, whatever, you know. If you can find $5,000 seed money, you should be able to earn $200 a day as a day trader quite easily, like very easily. In fact, you should be able to go in and out. And I know people who are making a lot more than $200 a day by just continuously trading that $5,000 in and out, in and out. Now, as a day trader, you should have 25,000 in your account if you have that. Now, you don't have to have that all in your trading account. As an example, let's say you're with Schwab, right? And you've got all this money and stuff, and it doesn't have to be in your Thinkorswim account. It could be in a money markets account or some other accounts. But as long as you have that, you can trade as much as you want, in and out, in and out. And if you know how to, if you learn how to do this properly, you can actually do very well. All right. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. So, folks, imagine yourself in control of your financial future, financial security. And that means that if there is ever going to be a recession the next little while, who cares? It's not going to affect you because you can make money going both up and down. And I enjoy making both money in the morning and then doing other things in the afternoon. So, um, if you drive an Uber, for example, you can make a lot of money, but you better be on call 20 hours a day. And I don't know how much money you make, driving somebody around for 10, 20 bucks, 40 bucks, whatever they get. I don't know. That's a lot of work, plus your car and everything else that goes with it. But by sitting in your home office, you're just trading options. Like, it's not that bad. And you're not going to be beholden to a boss or anybody else, no customers to appease or a clock to check in with. You don't have any obligations to anybody else as a day trader. You are your own boss. You treat it as a business, it'll treat you like a business. You treat it as a hobby, it'll treat you like a hobby. You can have all the material things that you want, and you can also make enough money to help other people. I mean, I like to help my family members, my kids, my family, my grandkids. I like to save for their education. I still believe in an education. You have to have something to fall back on. You still should have knowledge. You don't want to hang around stupid people. I find that if you go through college, you get some good connections in college and good people you hang out with, you get much better off, right? Who you hang out with is going to make a difference. So I still very much advocate go get a university education, get your degree, but learn how to trade options. That's how you're going to make your money. I have two kids. They both graduated and they do very well, but they also know how to trade. So when they need money, they want a little extra money, they go to the stock market. Stock market pays them. As my fellow Eagle guru, John, he's my partner in crime, he says, being able to do what you want when you want. That's his definition of success. And I totally agree with that. Being able to do what you want when you want. If I want to go poke holes in the clouds on a beautiful afternoon with some buddies, flying buddies, I can do that. If I want to go sailing, I can do that. If I just want to hang out with my wife, I can do that. If I want to just, take a nap in the afternoon, I can do that. Go for a drive. I can do whatever I want, right? I can do whatever I want. So, and I think that's really important. That's why I love to trade. So what do we have? We've got the inner circle, where you get your morning market analysis sent to you at 9 o'clock every morning. You'll also get a flash assessment as to where that's actually a flash assessment as to where we think SPY is going to go that day. Actually, John writes that. He's very comprehensive, very analytical. He looks at a lot of different things, right? When I do it, and the odd time I used to do it before, I used to give a very brief synopsis as to the way I thought the market was going to go, up or down, right? But he gets right into the detail. And you'll also get a follow-up report later in the day. And I'll give you an example of that in a little bit here. And of course, you'll be invited to our Wednesday night meetups where you can ask all the questions that you want. And you'll get first notice of upcoming events. Now, you can go to our website, daytradespy.com, and register there. But if you want to get a discounted price, chances are you will be able to if you email customer service at DayTradeSPY. Email customer service at DayTradeSPY for pricing. Now, you want to know what our follow-up reports look like, and I'll tell you. I think it was last week or the week before, somebody asked me, well, you didn't give a report as to what we did last week. It's okay, fine. So here's what we did last week. This is on Monday. Now, Monday, volatility was through the roof, and we will oftentimes, our recommendations is going to be best to sit on your hands today. A no trade day. So our pick of the day was actually a no trade. Our other strategy out of the morning gate was a no trade. The day trade spy signal, no trade there. I was sitting in some $200 calls from the week before. No new trades, and John did not place any trades on Monday. When extreme volatility has us on edge, relatively low volumes, prices are high, hard to predict the moves, left us mostly in a watchful state. And it's so true here. It's better to not be in a trade wishing you were. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Spotlight. It's better to not be in a trade wishing you were than to be in a trade wishing you weren't. Maybe if I write a little, let's see, draw a pen. Okay, all right. Let's try this. Better to not be in a trade wishing you were than to be in a trade wishing you weren't. There you go. Right? And that was Monday. And believe me, folks, there's no shame. There's no shame in not trading. That doesn't mean you're not a trader. Oh, now we got this thing here. Now I got to erase this. Oh, Lord. Okay, erase. Okay, there we go. Tuesday, stocks were volatile again as President Trump basically threw a grenade into a foxhole and then he walked away, as one analyst explained it. The market drop essentially policy driven, not market driven, making it harder for investors to digest. Even Trump supporters, including hedge fund billionaire Bill Ackman, said that Trump should implement a 90-day timeout to allow more time to negotiate trade deals gradually. It looks like Trump listened to him. The shell shock, shell hacking, and since Wednesday has no precedence, although some compared it to the 1987 crash that followed from the failure of the Lehman Brothers, September of that year, of 2008. So here's our trades. Pick of the day. We did get into some options here. And let me draw this here. We made some money on, let's see here. Okay, made 6% on that. Oh, I got to do this one here back. How do I erase this here? Clear all drawings. Okay, we made 6% there. That was on the pick of the day. Out of the morning gate, another 6%. By the way, those people in the trade room, many of them made a lot more than 6%. We just use 6% as a measure of success. When you hit 6%, it's considered a success. But we teach in the trading room how to ride it up and make a lot more. The day trade spy signal, 5% on that one. My trades, I sold and I had a loss. I had a massive loss on 6 contracts, and I'll show you that in a little bit here. 82.6% loss. John traded some calls. He made some money here in at 889, out at 942. Made some money there. And that was Tuesday. That was Tuesday. He was talking about a catalyst. All right, Wednesday, we'll see if a new catalyst appears. This is where it gets really good. Okay, this is where it gets really good. Okay, now I think I have to clear all drawings and move on to the next slide. This is Wednesday, folks. Wednesday. All right, so Wednesday, what happened Wednesday? On the pick of the day, again, no trade because the implied volatility was just way too high. So when we issue a no trade on the pick of the day, we're actually saving your butt. Because if the volatility is too high, so is the price of the option. Now you can make money as long as that volatility remains high. But very often what happens, you get into the trade and then a few minutes later, you're in the trade, right? A couple minutes later, the volatility drops, so does the price of the option. You could end up buying an option for $8 and 2 minutes later it's down to 6. You just lost $2 on the volatility squeeze. That's painful. That hurts. But we got out of the OMG with a 6.3%. My trades, I got a couple of contracts. I did a net gain of $4,438, which helped alleviate a lot of the pain from the loss. But I was in that because I had watched the market and it had shot up on Wednesday, as I showed you, ran up, what, about 55 points or some crazy thing. I actually ran that off for the most part. So that was pretty good. John also did some money, made about 4.8%. At least he made some trades that were pretty good. All right, so now let's get rid of the drawings and go on to the next one. Thursday. Thursday. What do we do Thursday? Thursday. Okay, we got Thursday here. Let's see. Pick of the day, picked up 6%. OMG was a no trade day. It did not materialize. We do the OMG in the trading room every morning. All right, that goes in the trading room. Day trade spy signal picked up its 5.1%. My trades, so I'm doing this $200 trade, which I'll talk a little bit here. Did very well on that. Net for the day, $1,530. Pretty good there. John also made some pretty good money here. I got into the puts in at 9 and for 1164 out of 1198. Got back into the puts as trade number 2 on the 530 puts in from 1181 out at 1220. Trade number 3 in at 1235 out at 1305. All right, that was Friday. That was Friday, and then we're going into was that Friday? No, that was Thursday. Here's Friday right here. Here is Friday. Pick of the day got its 6% gain. OMG got its 6% gain. Day trade spy signal got its 5.7% gain. On my $200 trades, I got a total of $766. John did well, got a 1345 out at 1425. Second trade, 1450 out at 1534. And trade number 3, same as the OMG trade. He did the same thing. He just followed along on that one. And and these are the reports that we send out. Okay, very brief. We talk about what we actually did, and you'll see all the results right there. Okay. So moving along, Day Trade Spy Signal. This is another one of our services. This is where you're going to get a particular option sent to your cell phone 3 to 5 times a week. So the objective here is to buy it within 2 minutes of getting the signal, immediately put it up for sale for 5% profit target, walk away and come back. If you're not taken out at the end of the day, right, then you'll want to sell it for the market price. All right, it's been working extremely well. I think it's pushing, I don't know, 89, 90% success rate or something. It's been working very well. And even the losses aren't that bad because what you're doing is you're selling at a market, and there's always enough time in these trades to, that you're not going to lose it all in theta, right? So if you were to buy, say, a same day option, and you're not making your money, well, you could be out of luck by the end of the day, right? And that's not good, right? But with these options, you have plenty of time. They go into next week, so you should still have plenty of time. These are algorithm-based um, trades, so it's triggered off when a certain uh, pattern or whatever it is sets up, then they trigger. Again, just like everything else, you can go to our website, buy it, or you can contact customer service at DayTradeSPY and get the better price. Next up, of course, is our pick of the day. Similar to the Day Trade Spy signal, but this one you're going to get your particular option emailed to you at 9 o'clock in the morning every day. And if it's not going to be a day to trade, we're going to tell you that too. And don't feel bad about not making the trade that day, because sometimes it's better to be not in it, it's better to not be in a trade wishing you were than to be in a trade wishing you weren't, right? These are hand-picked trades to be bought at market open. So what happens is this. John and I get together every morning and we discuss, what do we see? What do we see? We bring in the technicals, we bring in the fundamentals, we bring in the market sentiment, who's speaking, where the things are gonna. We bring in all this stuff, put it in the mixture, hit the mixture. Is it gonna be up or down or no trade? And that's what we do, right? And then now again, we use 6% as a profit target. Excuse me. But if you know what to do in the trading room, which is what we teach you, you can actually make, and a lot of people make a lot more than 6% on these trades, okay? They also might be, they may be held overnight if you want. So you don't have to actually sell them. Again, these as well have time on their side as a rule. Every now and then we'll have something that's going to expire a little bit earlier, but as a rule, Mondays and Tuesdays we'll have same week expiration. Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays we'll have the following Friday's expiration. Just like with all of our services, go to customer service at DayTradeSPY and email them and ask them for the best price on the pick of the day. Next up, of course, is our famous trading room, a world famous trading room. Okay. This is hosted by yours truly, Humble Hugh and John. And we have a lot of fun here, folks. We have actually the trading rooms are very entertaining. We have a lot of fun. This is where strategies come alive. Every morning we do this, 9:20 to 10:30 Eastern time. We don't monopolize your whole day. We get in there, we discuss the market setup, we discuss the news and the events that are going to shape the market today. And then what we do is we decide at the market open, what are we looking at? When the market setup presents itself, we jump in, make our money, get in, get out. We're done by 10:30. How cool is that? You're not sitting in front of your computer all day long. If you want to stay and do that longer, that's up to you. All right, but we teach you things, right? This is a learn and earn activity. It's an interactive, exciting trading. We teach what we trade and we trade what we teach, and we answer your questions. Just like this here, you'll have the questions box where you can ask questions and we answer them. For the most part, sometimes we miss one or two, but it's not so bad. We've been doing this since 2010. I believe this is the longest running trading room. We are not aware of any other trading room that is longer than our trading room. So must be doing something right. Again, go to customer service at DayTradeSPY, right? And you'll get the best rate there. So, all right. My question to you is, can you afford not to subscribe to this? I understand the special price is $6.99 for 3 months, which is roughly the cost of, I like to say, a 6-inch sandwich at Subway every day. Not for both John and I, either John or myself. So one half inch, one 6-inch Subway sandwich lunch. That's what it's going to cost you. All right. So I would say that to get the mentorship of two pro traders for the cost of a casual lunch, that's probably a really good value. I sure wish I had a Hugh and John that I could have gone to when I learned this stuff. Let me tell you. I would have saved myself an awful lot of money. An awful lot of money. All right, so here's a little project that we're working on. Started in January. We're looking at turning 5,000 to 50,000 by the end of the year, and hopefully take it up even higher. This is what happened last little while here, last 2 3 weeks. Yeah, we had some bad turns here. Okay, the market tanked on us, caught us with our pants down. We lost back on March the 31st. Took a massive hit for 14,000. Another one on April the 8th. But we're coming back up here, folks. We're working on getting out of the hole, and I fully expect to be to by the end of the year make the 50,000. Excuse me, take the 5,000 and turn it into 50,000 by the end of the year, and we will keep you posted on this here. These notes, these are the trades that I placed that day. Made 348 on one trade, 294 another, 414.90, 312 and 72 on a sixth trade. Friday just did 3 trades, 496. These are net of commission. Okay. We're considering $1 a contract for commission up to $10, which is what it is on Tasty Trade. Okay. So we're slowly getting out of our funk. Okay. My question, people ask me, well, are you worried about that? And I say, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am not worried at all because, those are the reasons. Join our programs and learn to day trade spy. I'm very confident that we are going to be very, very successful in that. Okay. And that's why. And that's the thing. When you know how to day trade options on SPY, you're going to have that confidence. And even when you have some losses, it's not the end of the world. It's no big deal because you'll learn about money management. You'll learn about how to just ramp up these small trades a little at a time. You learn how to walk away and maybe close your account when you made $1,000 a day type of thing. And that's the thing. When you join our programs, that's what you're going to learn, right? All right, let's get into some of the questions here up on the board. They've all stacked up pretty good. Thank you for your patience. Let me go back here to the top and see if I can. Okay. Okay. Let me just see here what's going on. I'd like to get the recordings of the last quarters of Trading Room. Um, okay, Phil, I would recommend if any administrative kind of and any administrative kind of questions, please call customer service at DayTradeSPY. They should take care of you, not a problem. Here's a question from Jay. Do you have a bias before the market starts, or do you purely follow price action on SPY? Um, I generally like to make money to the upside, but I do acknowledge that these days you can, if the prices are going to be dropping, we'll go to the downside. We'll make money on the puts, okay? Um, and I've seen the market drop so drastically that yes, there's money to be made on the puts, no question about it, but be very careful. I recommend to people who are sitting in puts, do not leave your post unless you see long-term moves to the downside. But I like to make money to the upside if I can. That's kind of my bias, but I also accept the fact that these days anything goes, right? Um, how much did they buy the SPY from you, Mike? I'm not really sure what you're asking here. How much did who buy what? Buy SPY from you? Um, I trade. My trades are they're not market. They're limit orders. If the bid asks is $5 and $5.05, I'll sell it for $5 or 5.02 or 5.05, whatever it is. Are you asking how much did Eagle buy the program? If I told you that, I have to kill you. I don't know that. Try turning off the pen. Okay, tried that, Richard. Didn't quite work for me, actually. What happened here? Trump eliminated tariffs on electronics, iPhone chips, etc. Okay, I didn't know that, Jeff. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, I read I read a report. It's actually pretty cool. I'm not sure where it was on the iPhone. And if Trump wants to bring iPhone production, the Apple iPhone production back to the U.S., the analyst said that it'll be easier to train a bald eagle how to use a screwdriver than to bring the iPhone production back to the US. There are parts for the iPhone coming from 40 different countries. The US does not have the labor, the skilled labor, does not have the production of the parts. And by the time it ramps up, it'll be a long time and it'll be very, very, very expensive. Your iPhone is going to cost you many thousands of dollars. Not a good idea. So I suspect that Trump is going to eventually recognize that this global society that we live in, maybe there's some benefits and economies of scale, and if some countries can have cheaper labor and more skilled labor, or whatever. I think that I think he's going to refine um, his tariffs position. That's my guess. That's my guess. So. Let me see here. Here's a comment here. Powell continues to sabotage Trump by not lowering the interest rate, though inflation is down. Um, well, I think he's taking a wait and see approach. He's just taking a wait and see. He doesn't want to rock the boat yet with any of those inputs. He's probably going to be waiting and see what happens here. So. As inflation goes up, I think that's when he's going to raise his rates. As it goes down, it is lower, but I think they're definitely taking a wait and see approach on that. I know that's what he was talking about a lot. So, do the markets close early on Thursday? I do not believe so. I will check that right now. They are closed on Friday. All right. So New York Stock Exchange hours. I believe the market is open the full hours on Thursday. So give me half a second to check that. Good Friday. The market is open all day Thursday on yeah, it looks like it's open on all day Thursday. Okay, it's just closed on Friday. So you should be good to go there. Okay. All right, should be good to go. Okay, Phil says, my emergency money is in gold. He's got 50K in gold coins. Okay. Okay. Can you recommend any online low-cost market news source that allows traders to accurately monitor the market in current time? First of all, by the time we get the news from our traditional mainstream news sources, it's old news. The market is already reacting to the news, okay? Because there's always going to be people who are going to see the news faster than you and I when we see the mainstream news, okay? But I monitor a number of different sources. I've got, oh my gosh, Wall Street Journal, Market Watch, ForexFactory.com. I watch, look at Bloomberg, bar charts, CNN, Fox, Twitter feeds, different things like that. So I like to take a balanced approach to the news, and so I'll look at those. And very often the Twitter feeds will give you an insight as to what's coming up. If Trump tweets out something crazy, then you can anticipate that the markets are going to move pretty quick on that. So, all right, government is still funny. Government's telling us to get us a side hustle. Okay, so no, not the contest yet. No, let's go back to the questions here. Still a little time. I don't want to keep you all night here, folks, but I'm just going to kind of get through here. Wow. Congratulations to Scott P. I know Scott is in our trading room, folks. He said he started with $500 a day. That was his goal. Then he upped it to $1,000 a day. Last week he averaged $5,000 a day. Very easy. Been burned twice, but overall he's way up. Congratulations on that, Scott. David, did you review the $200 challenge? Yes, I did. And you can go back and review the notes on that. My biggest problem is patience. That's why you should be in the trading room. We talk a lot about patience. I will give you a little tip on patience if you want to learn about patience and practice your patience. The way I see it, patience is like a muscle. The more you flex it, the better it's going to be, the stronger it's going to be. Um, I try to exercise patience when, for example, I'm on the highway and if some people are just very annoying. They'll drive slow in the fast lane, right? You get in front of them and cut them off. You like to, you want to destroy them. It's like I wish I had a laser gun. I just, I think they do that on purpose. But I always ask myself, I probably have more to lose than they do, so I'm gonna just leave my road rage, tendencies, park that to the side, and just patiently drive it and recognize that not everybody is a good driver, not everybody is a courteous driver. In Europe, I know that when I drove in Europe, people stayed in the right lane and they only came into the left lane to pass. They're very courteous. If you were in the left lane and somebody came up behind you and flashed their lights, you'd get into the right lane very quickly. I really like that. I wish we did that here too, but they don't for whatever reason. To want to practice patience, drive slow drive the speed limit. Do that in the slow lane. Just say, okay, for the next 10 miles, I'm going to drive the speed limit. It's very difficult for me to do, but every now and then I'll do that just to exercise my patience. And I realize that first of all, I don't get to my destination a whole lot faster. It might save a couple of minutes, but it does flex my patience, and then I learn to be more patient. I learn to be more patient. I'm probably a very impatient kind of a guy, but that helps me a lot. All right, let me see. Okay. Thanks for that, Ed. Ed says, yeah, the best sales technique ever. You showed the week's results every week. Tremendously powerful. Thank you so much for that. Let me see here. Okay. Friday was a put message, but the stocks went up like crazy. Still made money on puts on Friday. Will Trump's 90-day pause help the market? We're going to see what he says tomorrow. Every day's a new day with Trump. That's one thing. He's very impulsive, I guess is the word. Uh, and let me see what this, let's see. Does the inner circle include a weekly trading workshop? What time of day is the weekly trading workshop? Pam, the weekly workshop is on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock Eastern time. John does that one. Okay, he will do that. James is asking, what exactly is the $200? Okay, so the $200 trade. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm putting in $5,000 roughly, and I'm looking to make $200 per trade. That's all that is, roughly. Okay, now that's the goal. Sometimes I make a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. Sometimes I can do two or three trades to make my $200. Sometimes that $200 turns into an $800 trade. But the goal there is to make $200 a day, just trading $5,000 per trade. So. Okay, Hugh, can I buy your book, Triumphs and Tragedies? I think I'd really enjoy it. Okay. All right, we are gonna have our we're gonna have our here it is. Okay, I have to find my random number generator. Okay, let's see. I hope this works. So, folks, in the questions box, I want you to, okay, just gonna pull this over the side. I want you to pick a number between 1 and 100 and punch it up in the questions box. Okay, punch it in the questions box. And now I'm going, that's not the number. That's not the number. Okay, let me see how this works. Okay, okay. Oh, that's not in here. Click here. Okay, bear with me while I 61, is that it? Is that it? 61. The number is 61. 61, 15, 19. All right, four more times. One, two, three, four. The number is 96, ladies and gentlemen. 96. The person closest to 96 wins the ebook, Triumphs and Tragedies. I'm going to show you briefly what the ebook is, Triumphs and Tragedies. This is it here. Triumphs and Tragedies, 42 pages long, updated in 2025. These are personal tales of people who have come through the Day Trade Spy venue, and we talk about different things here, different people, and there's even a story about myself, which was actually quite amazing how I lost so much on. Not all trades are going to be winners here, but we've got some pretty cool stories here. Easy read, right? You can read one or two a night if you want. Put you to sleep. Daryl, this is a really good one here. I really like this one here. I like them all. This is one of my favorites too. Chris, is Chris on? Is Chris on? Let me see if Chris is my buddy. He is. Let me see if I can find Chris. Let me see. Chris, are you on here tonight? Let me take a look here. Okay. Let me just pull up his thing. No, I don't think he is. Maybe he is. Chris is a private. Well, he actually he's a commercial pilot, but he flies celebrities all around, right? Sports figures, entertainment figures, and a few years ago he said, "I'm going to come up take you out for dinner." He flew his plane up from Dallas to Buffalo to take me out for dinner. So, okay, fine. I will take you for dinner. If you're going to fly, I will take you for dinner. Anyway, it's a show of gratitude. Wonderful guy, great guy. And next day he flew back. So, anyway, a lot of great stories here, folks. A lot of great stories. And a little bit of an update here on for 2025. Anyway, that is the personal tales of triumphs and tragedies. So let me go back here and just see if I can find real quick if I can find a winner. Okay, 90. What was the number? The number was 96. 96. Okay, Stephen T, I believe, is came in at 99. 99. Let me see who else do we have real quick. Oh, seriously? 910. Scott, I believe, too bad, Scott, too late. Too late. No, 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 no. You can't do that, Scott. It's yeah. He punched up the number after we got the winner, but it's yeah. The winner here, folks, is actually the gentleman who came in at 99, and that was Stephen T. All right, Stephen T. And I will get you that ebook. And let me see, who do we have here? Uh, Scott. Okay, that's so funny. All right. I think with that we're gonna call it a day, right? I think we're done. It's been fun, but we're done. So now what I have to do is go to this next slide. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. If you do want to join the trading room, you should have the page, the URL pop up. Subscribe there, I believe $6.99 per month. Don't miss out on that one. It's always been a pleasure. The recording will be up. Good night, everybody.
I can tell